tired. I'm hanging on a wire, a foot over the fire, and it's burning, I can feel it inside. Done with the same cliche, done with the day after day. There's got to be a way. Now is the time to break the tide. I'll live, I'll die, for what is wrong and what is right. I'll take the pain for all the ones without a name. To be invincible, we'll be invincible. To be invincible, we'll be
Hey guys, welcome back to Two Guys in Hockey Talk. This is season 4, episode, I believe, 35? Question mark?
35, baby, 35.
Woo, man, that music has me pumped. So guys, as you see, I just want to put...
Oh, we lost Evan now for a bit. All right, well, he's gone. Welcome, guys, to Two Guys in Hockey Talk. We are here every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We love hearing from you guys. We hope you're enjoying the playoffs. We got 2 games on the docket tonight. We got the Toronto Maple Leafs going into the third, battling for their lives versus the Florida Panthers. I believe the score is 1-0. I hope you have a team you're cheering for. Let us know in the comments who it is. And then later tonight, we got the Edmonton Oilers, who are facing off against the Vegas Golden Knights. Welcome back, Evan. How you doing? Was that a joke, or were you actually getting yourself out of here?
Well, I think if you look at this, I think it looked like when I hit all my buttons, instead of thinking we were invincible, I went invisible. I kind of messed up on the piece here. So, guys, hey, that song was by Penny Billionaires. We have our new exclusive rights to that song, Invincible. You got to give them a follow over at Penny Billionaires. Check them on YouTube. Check them out on all our social media pages and so forth. Hey, did you mention about any of our other sponsors before we get started?
No, I wasn't. I was about to, but I was waiting for you. So I was just saying we're here every night at 7 p.m. just talking a little about the playoff games tonight. I was just finishing off with the Vegas and Edmonton game happening tonight, but we're partnered up with Sports Empire for all your sporting needs, whether it's NBA, the playoffs are on, NFL, the draft just happened, MLB, that's ongoing. So there's a lot of sports content. Give them a follow. Freddie, Kyle, Key, the team there. You know, they're chomping at the bit. One of the programs, phenomenal. They're on Spotify, Amazon Music. We love for you guys to check it out. But we are their hockey content, and we love being with them. And
Awesome.
We've got our website going live, active, and we've got our two articles up right now. So you can make sure you go check it out at twoguyshockeytalk.com. We're going to put it in the chat. But thanks to JR Web Designs, our partnership with them, they have been phenomenal. They've been working hard and tirelessly behind the scenes, making everything prestige and beautiful.
Exactly. You know what I really like about the website design, and you guys let us know if you're going in there. Check it out, because on our blog, so in our writing, and by the way, we're looking for writers out there. Okay,
We are.
You crawled out of bed. Okay, come on, I got to put this up. Okay, okay, Zil, we have to.
Instead of the beard, I'm growing this out for the playoffs. There you go. Do you see this? Do you see how wild this is?
Well, I'm gonna have to stick up for my co-host here, because he has a kid now. Life is different when you got a kid. Just ask Cam Talbot when he got his twins, his life changed. Hey, so, but one of the things that we are looking for writers. So if you're interested in writing, Two Guys Hockey Talk at gmail.com. Send us an email letting us know that you're interested. We will connect up with you. But you can put a message at the end of any of our blogging. So you can go ahead and be able to do that. So definitely let us know. You might have a totally different take. You might actually think that, my partner here is off his, Pavel specifically, or you just might hate me for what I'm writing. So, and I
Can
say
we
we got three articles. My first article I put up welcoming everybody in to give you a little bit about what I can give you. I actually, in 2012, when I was with the Oilers Jambalaya, I brought back an old post. I talked about the possibility of expansion into Las Vegas, and I was ridiculed. I was dragged through the mud. That would never work. Even when we got started on the show, I talked about that, and came back. So anyway, guys, go check out the website. All our former guests, everybody's there. Work with it. What do you got to go? What do you got to say, man?
I was just going to get our fans, people tuning into the show, wherever you are coming from. Hey, Skygen. Is it Saigen or Kaigen? Cybergenetics? What's up, guys? Bolts fans here. Welcome. I just want a special shout out to Evan. It was his birthday yesterday. The guy is 25, so he can no longer be eligible for draft day. Unfortunately, as much as he wants to put himself on the top 15 for Rev's list, but give him a big shout out. We love you. And I have to finally admit, one day of the year, you do know something about hockey. So props, bravo, Evan, and I'll let you take it away.
So hey, props. You do know something about my life. One day a year. No, it's all great. So with all that said, guys, again, follow Penny Billionaires, our music. You can catch it again on the end. Go follow them. If you like electronic hard rock music, great band. Catch the Sports Empire. So if Kyle Key, guys, you're out there. Hey, thanks so much for supporting us. If you're following us, some of you guys right now are over at the Sports Empire, following right now on YouTube and on Facebook, because I see you in my little corner box that I'm kind of scrolling through, guys.
I'm loving my Lakers. They came out dominant a few nights ago. Fun game versus GSW. But anyways,
are you talking about the Vajoks, the SHL Vajoks Lakers? Is that who you're talking about? No, I'm just joking. Just joking, guys. So, okay. So I think I'd like to get to a couple things just before we get into all the NHL stuff, because we go crazy once we get talking all this stuff. So what I'd like to do is just bring everyone's attention right now to the WHL. Now, the WHL is in the western part of Canada and also in the northwestern part of the U.S. Now, that's where the WHL teams are a part of the Canadian Hockey League. Now, there's 3 different groups. Now, with the WHL, the draft was earlier today. It's called the U.S. Priority Draft for those that are not as familiar. Now, I want to give a special thanks put out there right now to someone who is helping us out of Texas. So I want to say welcome to Tanner Wilson. He is an assistant executive with Hockey Media for Tech Sports Review, and he's sent me a list of the guys that we should watch out for today. So I want to just give you a little bit of an idea, because going into today, into that selection draft, for example, I'm going to show you on the screen, if you're able to follow, what you're going to see is a list. This is like the top 20 that have been broken down in draft by elite prospects. Now, interesting enough, none are out of Texas. But interesting enough, today is the U.S. one, but tomorrow is the one with all the other Canadian players that are going to be going in the regular draft. And anyone that wasn't selected today is open for tomorrow. So very important that that you guys recognize that. Now, here, I want this is it. Tanner, you did a fabulous job. So Tanner talked about a guy named J.P. Hurlburt. Think of this. J.P. Hurlburt. I had him ranked out of all the guys that he had gave me a heads up that would be coming out of the Dallas Stars Elite Hockey Club. Now, that's their U14. These are young guys going into junior hockey. They're still probably a year away. He scored in 75 games this year, 112 goals, 83 assists for 195 points. But can you believe today he went 20th to the Kamloops Blazers? So, man, if you're a Kamloops Blazers fan, you just picked up Hurlburt, who got 195 points. And even on a team that maybe is stacked, he's going to have a good shot to be a good quality player. Another player that was interesting that got drafted today was Cameron Dillard. This is all out of the state of Texas. So if you're Texas fans, we need to get you on board. I haven't saw a lot of you guys on this talk show, so we love to see our Dallas Stars rep there. At number 10, Cameron Dillard went to the Everett Silvertips. Great defenseman. This guy puts up about 0.75, but even though he's smaller, he's got that Cale Makar kind of a move. Fabulous stuff, this guy. And then a guy named Landon Arheen went number 17 to the Portland Winterhawks. I'm going to put a whole bunch of stuff in the Rev's top 15 section under prospects, because there'll be a prospect section to watch for some of these players. Even though they're U14s, these are guys you're going to watch for USA and Canada and so forth in the years that are coming up ahead. And then the last thing that I thought would be really important today to kind of bring mention to is because we are local here, and the U.S. Priority Draft did bring in third overall to the Edmonton Oil Kings, right where we are, and his name is Noah Teamu. I believe it's Noah Teamu. Teamu. And so they have a lot of high hopes for this guy coming, because they did trade away a lot of draft picks in their push these last couple of years, right? Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, I wanted to get that junior stuff going, guys, so we can talk NHL with you. But please remember to follow these guys. Otherwise, all you guys are is jumping on, and you're saying, "Oh, there's Connor Bedard." We've been talking about Connor Bedard for 4 years already. So jump on board, join us on our website for all that extra fun information. Dude, let's talk National Hockey League. What you got? Where are we going to go? Do you want to talk about our site? You got an article up there on that team.
I did. So I wrote up an article today about the Toronto Maple Leafs, just because tonight, everyone knows, as I was alluding to, they're in the third period playing the Panthers in Game 4, and they're on the brink of elimination. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that there's long overhaul changes? I put a few things in the in the article about what this means for the future of the organization, because unless they get through this and win the next 4, which only has been done 4 times in the history of the NHL, and the NHL has 100 years of history. I'm sure Liam McGuire knows way better, a historian, great guy. You should follow him on Twitter. But 4 times, one of those teams was in 1942, and it was the Toronto Maple Leafs. But this is quite a few years ago, so you can definitely tell things are different. What does this mean for Kyle Dubas? Now, you, Evan, alluded to last week that he's staying no matter what. Given what he's done, he's created the best roster, and he does. I put up the numbers. He's got a 6.4 41 winning percentage with that team for the whole season, for his time there since 2018. So, if they get rid of Dubas, what does that mean for the big guys? Matthews and Nylander are up, and they can start contract negotiations as of July 1st, so they have 1 more year. Do they stay? Okay. Do you trade Nylander? What does that look like? Now, they may win tonight. They may push this to Game 7. Who knows? The problem is there's changes coming to Toronto, and this is the mecca of hockey. What are your thoughts on you thinking that Dubas will stay, or do you think that he's gone? Or do you think that upper management, MLSC, will say, you know what, we need a change of pace? Because you saw it last year with the Bruins. You saw it this year, or even at the beginning last year with even the Florida Panthers. They were a President's Trophy winner last year, right? And then they fizzled out in the second round versus the Tampa Bay. This year, they've caught lightning in a bottle, and they are rolling with it, and they've won 6 in a row, and they are pushing. They took the Boston Bruins, who had the best regular season in the NHL, and they beat them. So what are your thoughts? Does Toronto change it up? Do you still stick with the fact that Kyle Dubas will stay? Or are teams like Calgary and Pittsburgh looking and salivating at the opportunity to have Kyle Dubas in their organization?
Excellent point. Guys, go over to 2guysandhockeytalk.com. That's our new domain. That's our new site set up. And you can read more about that. And specifically, whether you want to argue the point, whether you agree with the take, if you think you have an idea on some subtle changes, let us know. We'd love to actually hear about it. All right. So we are going to go about now. One of you guys might decide to destroy the game. We actually know what the score of the game is going on right now, but we're going to pretend we know no score that's going on in the Toronto, Florida series. We're going to take this at a 3-0 lead in the series, and that's where we're going to talk about where we are. Would that be fair, Pavel? So we don't wreck it for some other people out there that actually do not want to know what's going on because they're watching us and they're PVRing and they're like, if we do that, they're going to think we're a bunch of idiots, right? So let's not do that. All right. Can I say Matthew Tkachuk, MVP? No, hang on. There's this goalie named Bobrovsky who has been outstanding for the Florida Panthers.
Yeah,
like, do you think that they're going to be able to continue that
for this round? Yes, I think Bobrovsky's back to his elite Vezina year season that he had with Columbus, and how he took out the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2019. I think he's at that level. The problem with Bobrovsky and the organization that they've had with him is that he's been hot and cold. Sometimes, and who started the playoffs in the first round versus Boston? It was Alex Lyon, right? And we talked about it on the show. You guys can go back and watch it. But
I didn't agree.
He's really found his form. He's really found his groove. And the defense helped him. Let's talk about that defensive core pair. And let's even specifically hone in on Brandon Montour. This guy went from Anaheim to Buffalo, and now he is really excelling. Next to Evan Bouchard, who has, I think, 13 points in the last few games, he has really put up a lot of points. I think he's like at 8 or 9 points now thus far. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. The guy knows how to put up points, but he's defensively sound, and he plays with, I think sometimes it could be Gustav Forsling, or unless he's playing on the second line pairing, right? So thank you, Evan, for the Panthers.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, the Panthers are growing on me every single day. These guys, I've always liked them back to the days of the expansion when John Van Beesbrook played for them. Man, I love the Beezer. The guy was incredible. And you're absolutely welcome. But man, that fan base gets a really bad rap. In fact, I'd like to make a mention. So our podcast is, of course, very strong in Canada. We're in Western Canada, in Edmonton, in the West, in province of Alberta. So obviously all the provinces, we get a lot of people that follow us. In the United States, we have about 15 states that follow us, and about 7 are pretty prominent. And I got to tell you,
we're still missing 35. Where are the other 35?
And I got to tell you, the state of Florida is usually our 3rd or 4th highest numbers for coming in for followers.
We have a super fan from there, Joe. She's a big super fan, attends a lot of the games. She's wonderful.
Well, they got season tickets, I believe, right?
Yes, they do. Yeah, they've met a few of the players as well. They're really connected with the community there, and they really love engaging and going to games. So shout out Joe. But exactly. I agree. They have really – hi, Candace. So really, at the end of the day, Florida is really been on a roll, and I think they can continue this. And I wouldn't be surprised if they steamroll their way all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals.
And like we said, we did say this last week. They were last year's President's champions, right?
Yeah.
They
won. You see that President's Trophy champions. You got it.
Remember. I was laughing because last week we called them I called them the President's Choice champions. But that's the Boston Bruins. That's the Boston Bruins.
That's a Canadian version of it. The poor man's President's Choice.
Evan, man. Okay.
What are your thoughts on the Edmonton Oilers / Vegas series that's going to happen tonight? Give me your take on the series so far.
Yeah, well, let's go back, man. Everyone talked about Eichel, and they said, oh, no. Well, right now, Eichel has the hand up now. He's got the hand up. What he's doing on the ice, what he's showing people out there, he has been pushing hard. And at this point, I am going to say that at this point, they are being outcoached. The Oilers are being outcoached because what I'm seeing, the strategies, even on this last game, I don't know how. Those are probably the 2 worst games that Edmonton has ever played. And if anyone comes in and says, oh, they just had a bad game. No. You have a bad game because you don't know how to adjust on the fly to what's happening on the ice. They're not used to the forecheckers that are coming in and they press you. They run two forecheckers. So they generally run a 1-2-2 a lot of times. So they got one defenseman back, two guys in that middle neutral, and they're running two forecheckers. And occasionally they'll go and they'll do a 1-3-1. But generally speaking, so here's the key. Can you get through that neutral zone? Can Edmonton press through and quit doing the rush? They got to find another way. I say they got to knock the puck down. This is one time I do call for it. Don Cherry would love me. You got to just shoot the puck in, and they got speed. And get your guys down there, bash and bang and crash, but keep your two defensemen back. They cannot go, and they need to keep more of a 2-1-2 or a 2-2-1 as far as I'm concerned for the Oilers. Otherwise, this series is going to be over in 6 for the Vegas Golden Knights.
You know what I found interesting about this series is unlike the LA series, or you could pick a few others, there's no real villain. Give me someone that the Oilers or the fan base can get behind and be like, you saw that versus LA. Drew Doughty made some comments about,
Colasar, man, now.
Well, Colasar, yeah, but really, like, who is it that they're focused on, right? And you can tell Aiden Hill came in, played with swagger, had a lead. Yeah. Their defensive core, again, one of the best. This was the top team in the West and in the Pacific, so that says something. They are deep down the middle. When Eichel, in his first year in the playoffs, remember, this guy's been around for almost 7 years. First year, he has really lit it up. 3 points last game, 1 goal, 2 assists. He was making plays. If you don't rely on him, and Mark Stone, I know he's playing a little bit injured with the back injury. I don't know how long he can sustain that. But when you go behind that and you've got not only Chandler Stevenson as your second line center and then Carlson as your third line center, you are rolling. You are rolling. And they have some big boys over there. And people forget Shea Theodore, elite defenseman. Again, another one from Anaheim, right? Pietrangelo, Stanley Cup winner, can really play, can really push you. They have some big bodies, and I think the problem is unless Edmonton starts getting physically smart in how they play, that's how they do it. And Kane tried to get under their skin. He didn't gain 2, but he needs more, and he needs to be smart about it.
Do you know what I love? The hatred that's building up in a rivalry between these two teams. It started in the regular season. They kind of had a little bit last year. It's kind of been building, and now the playoffs are building it. I mean, we see the fans. Like, the fans are rabid fans in Vegas. Yeah. They may not be all over the place like you have in some of your Canadian cities where they're like hovering in the tens and 15s of thousands of people outside. But I'll tell you, the people that are in there, they're paying the dollars. They are crazy. I mean, we saw the double finger coming out, when Evander King got them going and they just whooped Vegas right on their home ice in that game too. And everyone's making a deal about this lady with all this money. And then last game, we got a little, what is she, 12 years old, giving the finger directly to the Edmonton Oilers. To the Vegas Golden Knights after scoring a goal. Yeah. It's just like the fan bases are rabid. They're crazy. Remember, they're called fanatics, so don't expect them to be saying for a reason, right? Oh, my goodness. Hey, Jonathan, how you doing, man?
Well, Jonathan. So the one thing I will say before we move on to the next series is this is definitely one of the better series that you could see, and you can really tell that momentum does not work because you can't transition it from game to the other game, right? So it's definitely game-by-game basis. So let's talk about the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. So Hurricanes up 3-1. What are your thoughts?
Okay. Well, first of all, just because my head's getting sweaty and I forgot to do this earlier, I had said before the lottery draft that happened on May 8th, I said Connor Bedard, Vancouver, homeboy, he's not going home. So I need to take my hat off so I can get back into this because I'm sweating right now just thinking about these playoffs. I'm trying to keep up. I don't know how much PVR and how much lack of sleep I can get trying to catch up with what's going on here. So what series did you tell me about? You didn't talk about New Jersey getting another spanking, did you? Because
I did.
Yeah,
what
it's just like
on the series now that it's
okay. I'm gonna call out Ray. Ray's one of our viewers and our fans, lover of the New Jersey Devils. He's brought some Devils fans over this way. If you're a Devils fan, let's cheer him on, right? Okay, but here's the thing. They're getting spanked, and Ray had convinced me that they were good enough. I didn't think they were good enough, and then he convinced me they were good enough. And then I looked, and all along I'm saying, oh, they need Svechnikov. It's just like, I'll tell you, the Canes have impressed me in the sense that I didn't realize how strong they are and just well established. They got composure on the ice. They're not making a lot of mistakes. They had a bad game. Granted, they had that one bad game. I cannot see.
8-4.
I mean, I cannot see how that can change. And by the way, I don't know if people know this, but one of the guy, our former guest, as mentioned earlier, Liam McGuire, he shared on his Facebook page on how he got the chance to fly with a friend out
We're
that way.
We're flying. Evan, where's your plane at?
He flew to New York, spent some time there, got to go to the game, met Martin Brodeur, and got to watch the spanking of the only game so far that New Jersey has come back. So, Ray, live that one up, man. You got to go read Liam McGuire's story if you haven't. That guy gets all the opportunities. Good for him. You can check him out on our former guest. So, yep.
Sebastian Aho and Akira Schmid. Who goes to your MVP? Even though the Devils are going to be potentially out of the series.
So who's the first one you said?
Sebastian Aho.
Oh, easily Aho, right? Easily. Yeah, easily.
He's made an impact on the game, and he's really stepped up after Svechnikov got injured at the end of the season.
And I wasn't a fan of his contract when it was signed originally. I felt he needed to. I'll tell you, this is what we need to start recognizing. People are signing contracts for a little bit more, but there's always an anticipation so they don't have to pay too much if they wait 1 or 2 more years. Brady Tkachuk was the same thing. I thought he was getting, but now these guys have done it. We're dealing with Tim Stützle, right? And so I think that's what we saw with Aho. And so good for him, man. It's really good. I'm really happy. And you know what? Our homeboy that was locally, Puyarvi, he may not be putting nothing up, but he gets the experience, the longer run, even though that he was traded out. Not often you get traded from, a Stanley Cup contender to another Stanley Cup contender. Agreed. So that's great for him.
Devil fans, don't despair. This is a lot of good experience for a young and up-and-coming team, and you're seeing what you have. Bernie's saying Canes will take it. That's right. I think so too. But again, the experience that the New Jersey Devils will earn this year, Jack Hughes, right? Dawson Mercer, right? Some of these younger players, it's going to benefit them. Let's talk about the fact that Dougie Hamilton, who couldn't re-sign because he wanted big money, used to play for the Canes, and he's now facing off against his former team. So we'll be interested. You guys can let us know what your thoughts are on that series, and if anything was gonna, what's it called?
Hey, Sajid, looking for hockey podcasters. Woohoo! Well, hopefully we can be your source, but we are more than a hockey podcast. We are also writers now. We got our page up, and we like to bring exclusive guests for our shows, and we love to bring it to you live. And by the way, Sajid, if you stick around, probably once we get further into the playoffs, we're going to be opening the lines up to have people actually call in. It's a newer practice that we like to start doing.
Huge influx of visitors.
Oh, man.
Us. Oh, Aaron, beard, beautiful beard.
Yeah, well, he's noticing that I'm growing one. We always notice yours. You have one 24/7.
Aaron's got a big beard of his own, so it's pretty impressive. Knowledgeable and knowledgeable. So, okay, let's get into the Seattle-Dallas series. So
okay.
It's tied 2-2. What are your thoughts, and why won't the Seattle Kraken go away, Evan?
Because someone's cracking the whip behind him. So Hackstall is cracking the whip. He's feeding them seaweed for superpower.
My Jack Adams nominee. That's my winner.
Oh,
man. You guys can disagree. I get what Jim Montgomery did, but...
Oh, yeah.
David Hackstall, MVP.
Well, exactly. And I think Zill brings up a good point. Grubauer, right? Very good point. I know, Zill, you mentioned that earlier in their show. I had to wait for the timing till we hit to the Kraken. But I almost...
percentage after having an under, I think it was under 890 or 888 this season. Again, the Bobrovsky effect. It's hot and cold. Jekyll and Hyde.
Absolutely.
And he has been elite.
So this is what I think. I think that somebody has slipped the spinach into Popeye's diet. They've slipped the seaweed into the Kraken players' diet. And these guys are on spinach power. I have no, like, they've lost players. And
Jared
they
McCann is
still.
back, though, now. After that.
No, but
scary
yeah, no, and I understand that. But the point is they've lost players and they still continue. I mean, and they're not playing with superstars. This is, I like to say this right now, that there's only been one team since 1975 that has gone into a Stanley Cup final that did not have superstars. Now I'm saying superstars, not great players, not
was
first
it
line
the
players.
2003 Devils?
No, it was the Vancouver Canucks behind King Richard Brodeur way back in the day. They had great guys. They had Tom Skridine. They had Stan Smeal.
Did you say Vancouver
they had,
Canucks and Brodeur?
yeah. Oh, you're not familiar. So go look up Richard Brodeur. He was the first Brodeur.
I was thinking Martin.
Yes, his name was called King Richard Brodeur.
Yes.
And if anyone has ever saw the rally towels, it was in that year in the Stanley Cup against the New York Islanders. But the reason they got spanked so good is they did not have the people to make it to that final. So I would say that was the first time that they did not have stars. And I know people want to argue with me about Vegas, the first year as an expansion, but I'd like to say that Marc-Andre Fleury came over as a superstar, whether you believe it or not. He was still a superstar as a player on that team. So anyway, what's Legend saying? Krakens have my guy Gorde. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What a tenacious player. Just feisty. Tampa's missing that guy because he really made an impact. Just like Andre Palat, who's now in New Jersey.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Oh, he follows the Kraken also, but he's a true Bolt. Yeah, I'm sorry about your Bolts. They're going to still be competitive. I mean, 3 finals.
Three.
Two Stanley Cups. Ooh,
so here's the thing.
Will be jealous.
We're going to have to get over to what are we sitting at? We're sitting at 33. Let's quickly move over to Dallas, guys. If we have time, if any of you are sticking around, I'm going to send out a link. We'll try and put up a link if we get a chance to get through this next bit. If you stick around, we'll pull you onto the show into backstage if you want to come on and you can talk about whatever topic you want to talk about. We just want to quickly hit a little bit more and talk about Dallas a bit here. Dallas.
Okay.
What do they need to do? What do they need to do, Pavel, to come out of this?
I think Ottinger just needs to be a little bit more careful when it comes to the game management that he does, because he's given up a few. Like last night, they went up 4-0, I think even 5-0 at one point, or 4-1, 5-1, and then they let it get away for it where it got to 5-3 with 5 or 6 minutes left in the third period. Of course, they won 6-3, but even the game beforehand where they let in, 6 or 7 goals, it doesn't seem very Ottinger-like, right? And I know that the team can definitely, have an impact in terms of defensively playing and being more sound. And Peter DeBoer will work out those kinks through, video coaching and stuff.
I hope so.
But I think Jake Ottinger is the MVP of that series for that team, and he needs to be better. Now, Joe Pavelski, he would be one veteran that I would love to see hoist the cup because he deserves it for all the history that he's brought, and he's been elite. And the other player that needs to get going because he hasn't really put up a lot of points, including goals, and he's known for it, is Jason Robertson. The guy had a scoring touch in the regular season. He has gone dry, completely dry. Now, don't get me wrong, they have depth scoring, but really, depth dry.
Exactly. So. Well, and it reminds me of the dry spell behind you with those star players, right? You can be a star player, but I think that people got to recognize even Connor McDavid in 2017, he didn't produce even a point in game in those playoffs, yet Draisaitl went supernova, which is going to be interesting, by the way, tonight to see. Does Draisaitl continue to keep supernova where literally he's playing better than Mario Lemieux? Yeah. I mean, it's insane numbers. The only one that really he's in competition with the way he's playing right now in the playoffs is the great, the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, quickly. Right. So Zylstra's talking about the Steelhead are winning also. The Idaho is Idaho, isn't it? I was going to say Idaho. Is it Idaho or Iowa? No, the Iowa or
Iowa
the
Steelheads,
Texas
isn't it?
team. I don't know. I forget the first name. Zill, correct me. You're following the AHL far greater than I am. By the way, Zill
Iowa.
is okay. There you go. Perfect.
No, Idaho.
So
Idaho.
I thought it was Idaho. You're making me debate myself. I was going to say so.
Christian, just putting you in a position.
So Zill, our lost trucker, is going to be one of our new writers coming on, and she's looking at writing all around. And I'm putting her on the spot now. She hasn't wrote her first article yet, but she is looking at on her writing, getting out there and writing all around her experiences in NHL, AHL, ECHL, whatever arena that she's taking in games from. So, and again, let's just put a quick mention out there. I want to go back to some of those that are out there that actually help support us, guys. So first of all, I just want to say thanks to Tanner Wilson tonight for all the stats that we were giving you a little bit earlier. Those stats out of Texas, that's Tanner Wilson. So Tanner, thanks so much for the feedback, as well as following us on Sports Empire, some of you. So right now I can see you guys are online over at Sports Empire. Welcome. Thank you guys for following us. We are your hockey content, or as much as we like to be. We try to be a little bit more, as well as I do want to put out there the Penny Billionaires, our intro, exclusive rights to the song Invincible. So if you haven't got a chance when we came on, check it out. Go give them a
Great
follow.
song.
Electronic hard rock band. And we will be going out with the Penny Billionaires. And our website is up and running, JR Web Designs. You know what? If you want to get a site up and running, you want to get it all going, a great price and a great guy who will do a fabulous job, and he caters it to you. So again, just putting a big thanks out to all these folks who are helping make this happen here. So, well, what do you think, bud? Should we open this up? Let's see if they actually want to come on.
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay, guys. So we're going to give you a chance. Sometimes you guys get a little bit scared, but wherever you are, I've just sent the stream out. So what'll happen is you click on that little piece. It'll take you backstage. And what we'll do is we'll give you a minute or two to be able to rant. We have a few minutes in our show that we kind of set aside. So if you want to, jump on. Okay, hey, let's I want to go back. By the way, I just want to say welcome to one of our former guests, Daryl Wolski. He is a hockey agent, by the way. He's with 2012 Hockey Agency, so he actually represented Kyle Beach and several other players, by the way, that playing in various places all around the globe. So wonderful guy. I just kind of want to show you guys something here. So he actually, if you go to his website and you can follow him again, Daryl Wolski, you can actually get in there. If you know people looking for an agent, I'm encouraging. I'm not trying to advertise for him. I'm just saying this is a great opportunity. He gives all the rankings of the different teams. He'll give you all the breakdowns of how much you can make in these different leagues and stuff like that. So make sure you give him a follow. We're going to be getting him on sometime because the guy is a blast, and he's got a no holds barred, literally no holds barred approach to what he talks about. So I can't wait to chat hockey. And next week, I'm excited. As I'm going to say it is in the words of the famous Ric Flair. Next week, three times, is Jed Roberts. He is a phenomenal player in his day with the Edmonton Eskimos, former Grey Cup champion, joined us in season 2. So I've been trying to get him on every once in a while. The guy is so busy, whether he's a guest speaker or somewhere else. Check out our former guest. You can follow him. He's around Edmonton a lot, has done some work up in the Northwest Territories and such. But he'll be on, and he's going to talk playoff hockey with us tomorrow, next Wednesday, for about 20, 30 minutes. He's really hoping his Edmonton Oilers are in there because he is a super fan of the Edmonton Oilers.
We're happy to have him back. He was a guest in season 2. It was really fun to have him on.
All right, and I do want to bring another mention too. So Patrick Conway, hey Patrick, again, Patrick was from season 2. Patrick writes on all things post-Soviet hockey. So one of our writing is going to be actually on post-Soviet hockey all around the KHL. So I called them Siska. I don't know. Patrick's going to come on and correct me. CSKA. They beat Akbars in the Gagarin Cup for their championship. Now, this is an old picture of their cup that they have. I love this. That's a great trophy, man. I don't know about you, but
I don't. That's very impressive.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, you could sit in that and go to the washroom if you chose to.
Yeah. You can do a lot of random things with the cup. I mean, whether it's the Stanley one or any other one. So.
Oh, I know.
I do
know.
have a funny story, so I will share a funny
story.
Yeah,
sure. Go for it. Go for it.
So, as people know, and we've talked about it before, I've partaken in ball hockey here in Edmonton, and it's not a very high division. It's one of the lower ones, but we had fun. We won a championship, and they do hand out trophies, fairly, like almost like the Clarence Bowl, right? Clarence Campbell Bowl. So we won that, and I got to be able to take that trophy up to the mountains because it was my turn with the cup, quote unquote. So we went up, and I decided to get a photo in Jasper on the mountain, and we went up to the top of the mountain while we were skiing and snowboarding. And so I'm taking a photo with my wife, and like this, and then someone was taking the photo for us. And then these kids ski by and say, these probably between the ages of 10 and 13, like, wow, that looks like the Stanley Cup. And my wife, of course, brilliantly says, it doesn't pay like the Stanley Cup.
Oh, man. That's funny.
So, Kaigan, we made our prediction, but we were kind of wrong. So we both had Edmonton, Boston. If you go back to our earlier episodes, now I honestly, it's hard to say now because it's so open. It's literally wide open. Evan, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to change the Eastern Conference because I'm taking the Panthers to actually go all the way into it. But as much as it pains me to see the Oilers down 2-1 as an Oiler fan, I'm also trying to look not through rose-colored glasses. I am a little concerned. Tonight really is going to be the ultimate test. They can't go down 3-1. There's no way they're coming out if they go down 3-1. They're not going to win 3 against this team. Vegas is good.
Although road teams tentatively have a better chance this season.
But I will say this: I still stick with Edmonton as winning the cup. But I think it would be interesting to be able to see Evander Kane versus Matthew Tkachuk again in a final series. That would be a lot of fun, especially at this level when you get not second round, but you're talking about that far in that deep in with it. So, but anyway, so that's who we kind of got. I don't know. Who do you think you're taking out of the East now that Boston's out?
You know what? Carolina has been a team that has really shown that they can beat you in different ways and really like play the type of game you want to play, right? So, you want to play a low-scoring event, they'll play a low-scoring event. You want to play a high-scoring event, they'll put up goals. They have guys coming in and contributing. The one question I have for Carolina, and I had it all season, is goaltending. Is Freddie Anderson enough to take him on a run? They have a tandem, really. I mean, Antti Raanta has really been their starter, but you still have Kochetkov, who has come in and really played well. So you have 3 solid goaltenders, and Rob Brind'Amour knows. But
they're 9-0 now. I don't know if it's updated right now. I haven't gone on and checked this week, but they were 904 to 906 was their average going into the playoffs. Now they were sitting there early on. Has their goaltending improved in their save percentage?
It's about the same. Maybe it's a little bit more. But again, you look at somebody like the Panthers and Bobrovsky, or we talked about Seattle and Grubauer and how it could change on a dime or change within a series or a game. So like I said, they lost 8-4 versus New Jersey. That wasn't very pretty. They played more of a tight defensive game versus Islanders. However, Islanders didn't really have a lot of goal scorers, which, we expected. So, it depends on who they face off in the Eastern Conference Final. Will it be the Panthers? Most likely. So how will the Panthers approach that, right? Wow. But I still think Carolina now would come out of the East.
Wow. Well, you know what? Let's have one last conversation. So I wrote an article that I just put up last night. I had to. After watching everything came down in the draft lottery, I made sure I got it up yesterday with Connor Bedard. We've been talking about him forever. It's got old, I know, to talk about. But one of the things when I did my posting, and of course, so if you actually follow us again, 2guysinhockeytalk.com, you can actually go and check out our stuff. But what I want to do is I want to take you there for a moment here, because in my article, I put Bedard has landed in Blackhawks Nation. Now, first of all, go read the full article if you want to know a little bit more about everything that was written. But understand, he is landing in Blackhawks Nation. All you fans trading Tage Thompson and Peyton Krebs, and you're moving them over there for Connor Bedard, or you're going to take Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, and you're going to move them for Bedard, or you're going to take Leon Draisaitl and trade him for like they're not moving Bedard, guys. Just understand that. Now, guess what? Something could happen. Maybe Bedard becomes the next Alexander Daigle. It's always possible. But right now, it doesn't look like that. And if you go in, I break down the statistics. I want you to catch on to this. He scored, and I have all the details of the numbers, and I'm not going to share them here because I want you to go read my article over at Two Guys in Hockey Talk. I spend a lot of time on it. So in it, when I break down the goals, do you realize his entire WHL career, he had 1 goal per game? In the modern era of a defensive league in the WHL, he had 1 goal per game. He has way more goals in a lot less games than Connor McDavid. He had 2.02 points in the regular season in his career, as opposed to Connor McDavid with 1.72. He had an phenomenal, a record history-breaking World Junior Championship. He is the top scorer of all time for Canada, right there in top 3 of all time in history for junior. But there is some differences. He's not as fast as McDavid. He's not as tall as McDavid. And so he's going to lack in some characters to jump right in. And so he may not come across as good as Connor McDavid in that first year. But I'm telling you, he's winning Rookie of the Year, and he's getting a point a game in his first absolute season.
That's a little bit mold. McDavid.
Oh, it's bold, dude. Okay, hang on. What's bold? Me saying Connor Bedard's going to win Rookie of the Year and he's going to get a point per game?
No, that he's going to win Rookie of the Year when McDavid didn't win.
Yeah, but
Gretzky didn't win it.
So when you talk about bold, I said that this guy would be the first overall draft pick when he was 12 years old.
No,
that was bold.
I get. What I'm saying is that you can't
but it's the same.
Be the winner if you can't.
But you can't predict that this kid at 12 years old was going to be the number 1 draft pick, consensus, and a generational talent. There was a lot of other good players at that same time. So, yeah, I gotcha.
First off, I want to first say, because I know the draft lottery is one of the biggest, most important days for the NHL, as well as, hey, T, how you doing?
And I'm not done. I'm not done talking about it yet.
I know. I'm just going to add my 2 cents because you have your article. People can go read it while I talk, so they don't have to pay attention to me. But long story short, the draft is a very important day, not only for the NHL because it brings in viewership, and it's exciting, especially with the generational talent than Bedard, as well as it being a deep draft. That being said, and for NHL teams, because it builds the trajectory of your organization for the next 5 years. That being said, when people talk about it being an inside job or that it's fixed or that I don't believe that. Now, did Kevin Weeks make a mistake and reveal that Columbus is number 3? He did. But there was no fix of Chicago getting it. And doesn't matter where he went, people on Twitter, as I found, would be upset.
Yeah.
Do the Blackhawks deserve it after everything that they went through? That's for you guys to decide. You can make that argument or assessment. The problem is he's going to Chicago, and Chicago, Kyle Davidson, he's got a gold mine now. He's got a golden goose, as they say. And he's going to have to work around in getting Connor Bedard surrounded with a supporting cast that can compete for the playoffs again and bring another dynasty, as we saw just a little less than a decade ago with Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews.
It's interesting. I would make one slight change to what you said. They got the golden egg. They're hoping it becomes a goose.
I said the golden goose.
No. Did you hear what I said? I said I would change one thing.
But I'm saying it's different.
I am not understanding your counter arguments. I'm trying to tell you I'm changing the term. I think it's an egg that will hopefully become a goose, and you had to correct yourself. But that's okay. That's what happens when you know nothing about hockey. So, okay. Just bugging you, dude. Okay, so I want to mention there's been a lot of stuff, and like people were saying on Twitter, as you were mentioning, I got into a lot of it around with a lot of people on Twitter. If you want to go check it out, so go on Twitter at hockey_2. Follow Pavel. If you want to follow me at REV, you can follow a lot of the tweets. I am not going to give you the details or anything behind it because that's stuff that we'll do there. We're not doing that on this show. But here's the thing. What should have been a night that was celebrated by fans all over the world talking about the Chicago Blackhawks and being angry that they got the pick, just like people were angry that McDavid went to the Edmonton Oilers. That's perfectly fine. But the reasons is everyone's bringing up Kyle Beach's story all over again. And what I want to say, I know you guys think that they should miss out on their draft picks. That would have been last year. That would not have been this year, number one. Number two, it was a criminal charge, a criminal. This was not a hockey offense. It was offensive. It was disgusting. I do not stand up for that team. Everyone is gone except for the ownership. Now, you can have your different takes on what should happen or what should not. But, folks, this has nothing to do with Connor Bedard. And, frankly, I personally, I have made it known, and I've said it even in my blog, I've made it known that when it comes to the hockey fans, not the team, not the franchise, the hockey fans deserve. That's like you can hate a team, but it doesn't mean that the fans should never follow a team again because of what a franchise has done. I mean, you might take a year, you might take two, you might even take 3 or 4. But for something that's happened in the past and you think that you're mad at the fans for being excited. Now, I know tons of you are mad that they got him, whatever the reason. They've had all these players. But Pavel, I didn't write this in the article, so we can just mention this last piece, and then we'll get ready and wrap up. We got a game coming up right away for us. So think about this. The Edmonton Oilers got Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Paul Coffey, Yari Curry, and I could go on with all those Hall of Famer and superstars.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, they get Connor flipping McDavid. Who could have imagined? I know it's a long time later, but to have that kind of generational talent come along. And Leon, which never was expected to be of this level. Exactly. Who is generational, but was not known to be generational. Then let's go to the Pittsburgh Penguins. You have Mario Lemieux. You have Yager. They had some greats in Francis and Stevens and a whole bunch of other players that they had playing on that team. Great teams. And then along comes Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, right? So now let's go to Chicago. We can go way back because they're a classic team, but let's stick within since, like, let's just say the 80s. And we go and we see that they had the Denny Savards of the day. Now they've just gone through the Canes and the Tays and the Cups, and now they're getting another shot. Isn't it seem interesting that certain teams just keep cycling and very few teams of all these other teams get the chance on these generational players, but you never know when the next generational player will be coming along.
Yeah, one team that comes to mind that I think also lucked out generationally is the Colorado Avalanche. You had Peter Forsberg. You had Joe Sakic. I mean, I know there was, transition team, but you had Patrick Waugh. You had these complementary players that came out. And, of course, Ray Bork, who was an elite player, and it's sad that he never won a cup in Boston, but he did there. And now you've got Nathan McKinnon. You've got Cale Makar. You've got Mikko Rantanen, who is an elite player. Very underrated, and people don't talk about him enough, or at least they should be. Again, you're right. That there's one thing that I hate saying on this show is that you are right, but here you are. And there are some organizations that do have it because I'm sure
it's luck.
Many teams. Jamie Bascal was hoping and praying and doing all the voodoo things you can.
I was too. I was too.
Philadelphia Flyers to get him.
Vancouver I'd love to see the Flyers get him.
They were a number off from the lottery picks from getting Connor Bedard, which was disappointing. Montreal could have potentially gotten it, and look at that history and what they've been able to accomplish. So,
wow,
it happens, right? I agree. The organization is not free of sin, and they definitely have to pay for that. But people pay with their wallets, and so if you believe that they don't deserve their dollars,
spend the money.
That is up for you to decide on that thing. That being said, they did announce that after winning the lottery, their sales for the upcoming season went through the roof. Just wait until they draft.
What was it? 2 hours later? I don't know how many hours later. It was $2.5 million in sales already.
Yeah.
And my goodness.
Wait for the jerseys. You know, and see what that's going to look like. And what number he's going to pick. It's going to be the same as he's versus Regina, or will be something different.
And I do say this in one of the last pieces I write in my article, amongst many other things. And by the way, I see some of you have talked about his style of play in the comments section. I actually mentioned I feel he has a combination of a few who are all Hall of Famers essentially in the end. But one of the things that's interesting, a lot of people don't recognize that this guy has lived under the spotlight since he was 12 years old. He's been in the highest competitions. He's played with the bigger kids, the taller guys, the heavier guys. He's dealt with people sticking him and trying to throw him off. He's dealt with this his whole life. And with media, it's not new. They train these guys from a young age. So most often they're well prepared. And a lot of the pundits that are close were with it. So I'd like to say this. Last thing, just in closing here, is for myself, my last thought, and then I'll give you go with one last thought, Pavel. Is I just talked yesterday late night with a former NHL player, and in our conversation we were talking about what are the possibility that he crumbles under the spotlight in the third largest center in all of North America, in that place, that mecca, and their answer was he won't. Like literally, they're willing to put a bet on, like, if anyone was willing to bet them $1,000 right now of how well that they'll play. And that was one of the reasons when they are a good person that I recognize of talent and they can see it, they say he's got everything. And they're not worried about his foot speed. They'll work on his foot speed a bit, but it's his agility to get through people, even though they're in front of him, just like McDavid and others, without using speed. I don't know how he does it. It's his hockey IQ. The guy is phenomenal. And I am buying myself a Chicago Blackhawks jersey, Connor Bedard, number 98, even though he hadn't even been drafted officially. And that's what I got to say. Last thoughts, bud?
No, I'm probably going to do the same. I'm looking forward to it because I don't have a Chicago jersey yet. So that would be the first one that I would be willing to dish out for. But no. We've got the draft done. Now it's going to be coming up to see who goes where. We've got 8 teams left. No one on the brink of elimination anytime soon. Toronto was able to stave off tonight, so props to them. We'll see how it goes on Friday, back in the mecca of hockey as well in Canada. And we love hearing from you guys. We love seeing you, tuning in. We appreciate everything. Remember to give us a follow, like, subscribe, share. Every Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we are here. We're a partner with Sports Empire and JD Marriott. They do amazing work for websites. And Evan, I'm done.
Well, let's call it a wrap then, man. In the meantime and in between time,
keep your sticks on the ice. Stay safe.
I'm hanging on a wire, a foot over the fire, and it's burning, I can feel it inside. Done with the same cliche, done with the day after day. There's got to be a way. Now is the time to break the tie.